currently serving as Associate Director at LTIMindtree, Mr. Bishan Chakraborty.
In the boardroom, the same question is being asked to the person who is a CISSP or someone from the cloud security background.
I can really see how much nuance there is in balancing technical precision with strategy, and I really appreciate your honesty about the challenges.
I believe that a mentor-mentee relationship will break the ice and make it better place to live, co-live together, and then thrive together.
Hello everyone and welcome to another exciting episode of FaceTime with Leaders powered by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. I'm your host Sunny Pancholi, and today's episode is one you won't want to miss. We are diving into the world of cybersecurity, cloud infrastructure and strategic IT governance, the silent heroes behind the digital transformation of some of the world's biggest organizations. Trust me, this isn't your average tech talks. Today, we are exploring the complexities, the risks, and the innovation that are shaping the future of enterprise security. Our guest today is someone who has been at the forefront of this revolution, Mr. Bishan Chakraborty. With a career spanning 25 years, Mr. Bishan is an expert in cybersecurity, cloud infrastructure, and governance. Currently serving as Associate Director at LTIMindtree, he is leading initiatives in ISO 27001-2022, implementation, cloud security frameworks, and risk management across multiple sectors, including BFSI, SaaS, and manufacturing. His journey has taken him from the trenches of internal audits and compliance management to architecting cutting-edge security solutions for high-profile clients like SBI, Zurich Insurance, and more. Mr. Chakraborty, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here today. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling fantastic. Thank you for introducing me. I think this is the best introduction I've gotten for years altogether. I've represented a lot of international forums, but this is very special to me, and I'm thrilled. Thank you.
Fantastic. All right, so let's jump right in. Mr. Chakraborty, you have had a fascinating career navigating the complex and often unpredictable world of cybersecurity and cloud infrastructure. With 25 years of experience under your belt, can you take us back to a defining moment in your journey? Maybe a challenge that tested your judgment or a key decision that shaped your career trajectory? Something that, something that really stands out.
Okay, I remember one of the most critical projects which I've gone through while I was in Oman, Muscat, with the IBM folks. IBM came up with this project, and this was one of its kind. IBM having 7 scientists, out of which I was one of the only Indian who was serving for that project. The project had timelines in tray. Because 2018, if you remember, it was Muscat Airport being rejuvenated in the terminal number 8. And the whole of the terminal need to go into slumber. And imagine the whole crowd would be taken with the rest of the gates. Now, this terminal number 8 was the most critical part of the cybersecurity cell, which was situated there. So we had to put it in somewhere in the desert. And we had to go and build a data center and also a secure data center which will not be confiscated, cannot be spotted out for the time this rejuvenation or this renovation was happening in the airport. It had a timeline of 9 months, and believe me, it was fight till the finish. And we came up with good numbers, and 276 servers moved to different locations. Then back to square one, we had cloud compiling and then cloud computing to the full with exact terminology. If you talk about this confiscation rates, there were a lot of confiscation fought during this time because this was the second largest after Dubai airport. If you remember, Muscat Airport, terminal number 8, has more than 20,000 flights in a day. And this is not just the fact, it has increased tenfolds in the last 6 years. So ideally, 2024, I was called for a consultancy, and they needed someone who can go into deep dive into the cybersecurity model which they have and make it a DR. I think cloud into a DR is something which is rejuvenating and very challenging. At times, it happens that the cloud cannot encapsulate the whole of the 1 petabyte of data per hour. I mean, that's humongous amount of data coming in, and cleaning of data is the biggest challenge. Okay, so sooner or later, I could understand that we need a fleet of 7 people, all of them working across the globe and across 247. I was working, you can think about it, any shift, I was awake. So had sleepless nights for the past, I think, last 3 months was very critical, and we had language barrier. As you know, someone was from Lebanese, someone's Arabian, some of them came from UK. I was very comfortable with English, but most of them did not understand. So it was very tough. But yes, it was one of the biggest challenges which I faced. It was a $2 billion project. And I can tell you that is the largest I've handled so far alone. And I was the only person in the cybersecurity side. Rest all were DevOps and other technology people. Nonetheless, I made sure that India's pride never dies out. I am a true Indian and be Indian till the end, wherever I go.
That was incredible, Mr. Chakraborty. And it's fascinating how you navigated that challenge and turned it into a learning experience. Great. What a great start to this conversation. All right, let's dive into something that many of our listeners will be curious about, the balance between precision and ambiguity, right? Mr. Chakraborty, in your line of work, whether it's implementing security frameworks or managing complex audits across 150 plus sites, there is a clear need for technical precision. But as a leader, you often have to navigate through ambiguity and vision building. So, how do you manage this delicate balance between the analytical side of your work and the strategic? Sometimes uncertain decisions that come with leading such a huge team.
Yes, yes. That's quite interesting. What you said was very pertinent, and this is one of the CXO level questions which you posed onto me. I can tell you that in the board room, the same question is being asked to the person who is a CISSP or someone from the cloud security background. While I was doing my CISSP thesis, I remember when I was creating the CISSP module for any organization. Let's say I'm talking about IBM itself. IBM came up with 2016 to 2020. It was complete rewriting of the whole stuff. Whatever was on premises came onto off premises, or you can say cloud, with different platforms, again, capabilities around platforms, which is biggest challenge for any company which is humongous, has a lot of people management also involved in it, because we need to have the right talent mixed with the right effort which can be put, and the intent is very important. If the person doesn't have the intent, you cannot make someone do things. It has to come from them, and that was the biggest challenge. So resource management was one of the biggest challenges for me, to find out someone like me who has the same work ethos, which is not very it's not very easy to find out someone who is very like you or thinking on the same lines with the CXO level. So that kind of maturity, I think I had a very good mix of 2 or 3 young people, young chaps who were just out of the college, but they had the nitty-gritty of how the technical aspects, they picked up things on the go, and that's what I needed. So I had a mix of vintage people, mid size people, as in 10 plus years experience, and there was someone, the data scientists were mostly 3 to 5 years experience. Out of this whole thing, I think most of the time it happened that the hire to deploy or deploy to hire was always a conflict for us, because it was an investment for the company. So we, as an individual, I created a hire, train and deploy model. And that model was training scientists from DevOps to MLOps and AI engineers. So ideally, there was a transition which was needed. The blueprint was actually something which was workable, And we had infrastructure which would support these people for 6 months. All these 6 months, they would go into the problem statement, find out a solution. The solution will be again in the form of an algorithm, making sure that things don't go out of the way or too much of spend. We don't have to spend, we have to make something like a patent. It is not a patent, but it's a prototype. So most number of prototypes which we have created was because of this HTT model, because new brains came in, they brainstormed, and then there was a congregation of efforts which made sure that we have timeline as well as money as one of the biggest challenges taken away. I think that was something which we have answered conclusively, that okay, money and manpower, both of them would come, and it would be in quite flexible kind of an attitude. We need to carry the attitude of a leader. Unless you be on the attitude of a leader, you will not be able to find out solutions, viable solutions, which are cost effective. And that was the biggest bottleneck. I think we've surpassed that part, and making sure that most of the things came on the table of the board, and it never went out non-transparent. As in, we were as transparent as it could get. Each of the models, what we've created, we have demoed them to the internal stakeholders and then to the customer. So ideally, the leaders have their own point of views. We aggregated, re-demoed it, re-practiced it, and then went to the customer. So the customer's view was quite customized, and it was exactly what the customer wanted. The UI UX part was also something which we had, a lot of things which we've carried over. So most of the questions were answered by the stakeholders themselves. We've had participation from infra, CIS, whatnot, cloud. Then we have security. We had people from the facility side who were on the IoT side. So even the IoT was answered. Some of the AI enablement on the facility itself was also answered. So most of our, the prototypes have become patents, and we have more than 60 patents in that quarter just because we had the problems. Thank you.
Mr. Chakraborty, that's a brilliant illustration. I can really see how much nuance there is in balancing technical precision with
Yeah.
strategy. And I really appreciate your honesty about the challenges.
Yep.
It shows leadership is not just about answers, but thoughtful navigation.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you so much for the question, because this was a board level question, and I can tell you that this board level question is not answered by one person. It is asked to the CTO, CFO, CGO, CDO, all over the place. As in, each one of them have their own point of view. I am the person who is the content writer. I will be the CISSP who will be orchestrating all the problem statements and then put it onto the table of the person who is actually the solution architect, specifically for that particular ask.
Absolutely. So that is why this question was put forward to the ringmaster.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Continuing our conversation, you have been at the helm of multiple high-stakes projects, including the implementation of security frameworks in multi-cloud environments. With tools like Azure, AWS, and GCP becoming the backbone of many businesses. Mr. Chakraborty, where do you see organizations often going wrong with technology? That is part A of my question. And what's the biggest mistake you have seen? And how can businesses ensure their tech actually adds value, not just complexity?
Yeah, I think most of the time it happened that the young folks, they had a lot of complacency when they came into the system. So we had a very streamlined system of mentor and mentee relationship. And each and every project would be delegated so well that you will have a mix of vintage and young people. So ideally, it would mix the mind of two. One is accelerated mind who thinks very fast and wants results very fast. There is another person who is a vintage, at least 10 years in the system, who knows the ethos of work, how the things work around, what exactly will happen if there are roadblocks, what actions we need to take while we have those people. So we have a mix of two. One is that the newbies who are coming in as the result of the HTD, they mix up, and with the new mentors, the mentors are the people who have been in the system for 10 years and know what exactly is going to be the nuances in the next quarter or next 2 quarters. So ideally, they mix together and they have a congregation effort. And that effort which comes in is a mix of fast and accurate. So we have to be very cautious about it. See, we have the three V's, right? Value, velocity, and the verdict, as to what is going to happen. Value value proposition is something which is decided by the higher leaders. The verdict or the velocity is decided by the new people who are coming in, and we know that the velocity is possible. The same thing I can tell you in Azure. Microsoft has come up with lots of initiatives in AI. You see, it has a world record of AI patents which is coming in market. And this world record is created by none other than the new generation people who are just out of the college. They've learned AI and they are implementing the AI systematically with the help of mentors who are 10 years old in the system, both worked in on premises as well as on cloud. So ideally, it will be a mix of both. A hybrid environment is always entertained for the newcomers because this will create a niche for them and it'll be long lasting instead of being only one technology and one platform. And you need to make sure you're good in SageMaker. You're also good in AWS other artifacts like S3. You know what is storage, how the storage is getting implemented. Then, step by step, you need to make sure you do the intermigrations of each of these platforms, which is very important because in fray of whatever platform the person is actually being given, you need to make sure that you become over a period of time, maybe we'll give it as 6 months or maybe a 1 year, to make sure that the mentor is making the person at least 80% what he is. That's the target. I mean, setting a target of that kind, I think I've done that over and over again. And I have more than 100 data scientists in a year produced and deployed in projects. So, as an achievement, you can say that I've created data scientists of different platforms. You can say Azure, AWS, GCP. Now it's Snowflake. So, four competitors, all four competitors given fed back at the right moment of the time because we are multitaskers. Multitasking is a way of life now. And if you tell me I am not a multi agent multitasker, we can create AI agents which can work for us, but we need to know how much we can rely on that agent because human mind is required. You can't do away with that because 20% of hallucination what happens is because we are not doing the human interventions. Okay, so the human to human intervention is very important. So I believe that a mentor mentee relationship will break the ice and make it better place to live, co-live together, and then thrive together. Thank you for the
That's
question. It was
incredible.
very intriguing. I had down the lane, I have 100 data scientists now. I can say proudly that yes, they are as good as the solution architect. They can take up this load of the solution architect with multiple projects in the fray. And that is what we need. We need the young people come in and make something which is out of the box as it.
That's incredible, Mr. Chakraborty. I can feel how intricate multi-cloud setups can get. And it's fascinating how you turn these challenges into learning moments for organizations and for the upcoming leaders.
Sure, absolutely. And I remember one of those incidents where, the award ceremony, I went to one of the award ceremonies. This was the first time I've been invited for it for the two patents which I've created. I just want to say that those two patents are gifts to life, a societal gift. I would say I was very inclined to saving the society or helping the society in a way that we have a lot of interactions with the CSR groups. So they came up with a problem statement saying that hearing and listening has been an issue. Can you create something on an AI basis so that it negates the effect of not hearing and not talking, as in deaf and dumb? So can we take an interview of a deaf and dumb with an AI enabled resource? Can we do that? Said absolutely it is possible. The person has to write whatever he wants to say, and that written thing becomes a voice signature. And the listening part, the Audacity, actually, the Audacity has its own module where we have this audibility limits, and then you will create an audible signature, as in the cochlea. It is a natural cochlea which is being made. It's replicated to an AI cochlea. So AI-enabled cochlea has to be made and implanted in the person's ear. And that was multifaceted, as in you have a voice signature and you have an audibility limit. You know how much you are audible. It can be a 50% accuracy or 60% accuracy, but still you will be able to listen, okay, to people, which is a big gift. I think it's like God gift. Somebody talking and being able to listen after maybe 20 years of his life. They were so happy, and we had a very candid discussion with the owner of that particular NGOs. Two NGOs I support. One is Nanni Kali, and the second is Global Help. So these two NGOs are across the globe. And I can tell you that I've invested with pride, saying that I am 10,000 rupees per year, 12,000 rupees per year is a very small amount. But over a period of time, if I see, it's 20 years already, I've fed that whole NGO. Both the NGOs are incredibly good. They are doing good across the globe. They are saving people. They are saving children. And that was one of my aspirations in my life. But I think I take pride in saying that the award goes to those people who have given me the problem statement. As in, problem statement was very simple. I can't hear, I can't listen. I can't listen, I can't speak. That's like taking away life of a person, as in the person is not able to express, only writing and then listening and then sign language. He or she has to have sign language. Across the globe, we have different sign languages again, right? So most of most of the things happen that way. And then thankfully I was in between that. That was one project. The second project was Homelane. Homelane came up with 3D images, and they were not able to make it more concise in terms of how the customer will customize it. Let the customer do it. Why should we do it for them? They should do it on their own, and it is customer ease of access which came up by virtue of this particular patent. The patent is very excellently placed. It is on the app itself. You can do it on the app, you can do it on the UI path, or on the website. On the web portal, you have more dynamism. You can see many things together. On the mobile, you will have miniature things, as in miniature changes you want to make. You can do that. Even the payments are online. So everything happens on the app itself. So Homelane is one of the biggest furniture selling company turned into an office or home ergonomics. So as you know, ergonomics is a big science. You know that your ease of access of handling the house without even being present in the house is something which is coming up big time. And it's a big money which is going into it. And AI is rescuing all those things. I think AI is come for a rescue. It gives you 80% accuracy, 20% efficacy. The 20% efficacy, which is called as hallucination, is possibly manageable just by monitoring. We should have a robust human monitoring system which monitors those 20% lacuna, and that will take care of the 100%, whatever happens. This is out of my thesis, which I had for my PhD doctorate, which I've got. And I take pride in saying that there are very few people working on these lines as an Indian.
Absolutely, Mr. Chakraborty. And let me tell you this, that was mind-blowing. And thank you for bringing this to light.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your question. It was quite intriguing. Thank you.
So let's talk about transformation, Mr. Chakraborty, from security restructuring to embracing automation. You have been part of some massive projects. What's one leadership lesson you have learned during these large-scale transformations, especially when it comes to managing people through the change?
Okay. A change is something which is call of the day. If you say change is for good, that is what will make your life good. If you don't think that the change is going to do good for you, you are absolutely not in place. So I keep telling the leadership as well as my peers I have a robust team of 250 plus. Sometimes it's 650, sometimes 850, depending on the number of people I have represented. I remember of always saying that change is always for good. It is never bad to change. It is always transforming yourself constantly will make you unique, and you will be the unique piece who will be indispensable. You can't be indispensable in the system unless you change. So most of the time it happened that we had this mindset change, which needs to be changed with the newbies coming in. And most of the times it happened that I had to confront and tell them, counsel them, okay, this is what is going to change. How is it going to impact you? You tell me what will be your repercussion, or maybe possibly you give a timeline where we can set up something and we can make it comfortable. Okay. So it's not very comfortable to change at times. And so that comfort zone which you are in right now, you feel tend to be in that comfort zone. Why should we change? We are good. We are good to go. We are profitable. We are da da da. So you give a lot of pros and cons of why we don't want to change. Tell me a reason why we want to change. So I gave the other way around, and then they had no answer for it. I said, see, you need to find an answer why the change. And if the change is for better, what are the reasons? One, two, three, four. Let's list it out. What are the reasons and what will change and what will be beneficial for us? So, like a profit and loss statement, P&L statement is all about, what is going to profit us, what is going to be a loss. Loss means risk. And most of the time, it happened that the risk part was subdued and was not answered well by the stakeholders. By even they did not have a clue what they will do in those situations where the risk is. So, as a risk analyst, I had a humongous amount of time spent on only finding out the risks of the systems, whether it's resource risk, whether it's quality risk, whether it's timeline risk, whether we are able to stick to the technology which is being transitioned. So from transition, I remember of recalling one of the Azure moving completely to AWS. One of the Azure has AWS and Snowflake, both. So ideally, when the migration happened, it worked well in the client system. It did not work with us the other way around. It worked with us. It did not work with the client system. So either ways, it is a win-loss, loss-win system. As in, if you are in this kind of situation, you need to make sure you list down the risk, try and cut those risks to half of it, whatever we can do. From the client side, we got approvals. We made sure that the risk is mitigated on the timeline which the customer has set. We keep on asking the customer, involving the customer in every meeting which we had, because we want them to be absolutely consistent with our changes which we have made. They should be up to date. They should understand. We demoed even. We can't babysit them, but we can surely make sure that we have on a weekly basis a demo of the changes which you have implemented and what is the after effect of the changes. And that made things more conclusive, and it was iterative, it was documented. Now that we have Teams, thanks to Teams giving an AI flavor where we can store, we can capture the MOMs. We don't have to write the MOMs anymore. We don't have to even record things. It's automatically recorded. At times when you create a meeting, it's automatically recorded. The moment meeting starts, the recording starts. So ideally, what has happened is the automation has taken a backseat. Initially, when I started 10 years back, automation took a backseat. There was a lot of lethargy in getting the automation done. Now that we have AI as an assistant, at least 60 to 70% of the automations are taken care, and the mundane tasks are taken care by the AI, which is why the CXO level will have more time on different divisive attitude where we have to comply to a system, right? So for that, we need the CTO, CEO, CXO, and the whole of the CXO level needs to be on the same page. And we have more frequent boardroom meetings rather than the steering meetings in the project management. Okay. In the project management terms, if you have Scrum Masters meetings and a Scrum of Scrum, more number of Scrum of Scrum means there is a lot of perturbance happening in the projects. Okay. So we need to silence that. For silencing it, we'll have more number of the boardroom meetings and the broad meetings which we have with the customers more. spend time with the customer, what the customer's agony is, the pain points. We need to enlist them and put them on the table of the board. And each week, if you have at least 2 or 3 of the biggest pain points, that is the source of income for us. For us as a technocrat, we need to find out the problem statement and give a solution in such a way it's conclusive and it's fit to be there. There is nothing left behind. You need to take ownership of that problem statement, find a solution which is conclusive and progressive in nature, as in it has a version 1 and then it'll have a version Z, A to Z. We need to make sure that that version persists and it happens on the hook with the customer being in the discussion. Okay. Now the customers very, they are very transparent. Whatever you need, you get on the table. And that has made things more challenging because we have to go back to the leadership, argue on the fact that, okay, this is what is the benefit. It is a long term. Maybe now we are spending, but later on when we get it full throttle, the product is going to sell like hot cake, and it would be across department. It is not confined to one single department. It's going to reuse. They're going to reuse it, and the more you reuse, the product levels or the product service level is amplified, and the profit will be coming to us. So I think most of it was that we need to make sure the 3 V's are intact. We need to have people who are always for the better, as in always think positive. You need to have a group of people who are think tank, have the same type of thought process. I usually give an example of the 6 pillars of AI. Okay. So the 6 pillars of AI, the best pillar is the ethical pillar. Okay. So the 6th pillar is called the ethical pillar, which is going to be part and parcel of someone who is in the cybersecurity side. Will know these six pillars which we have. We have to make sure that it gets reused. It gets used to the department which you are working. It is primarily used for it, but it can be reused in other departments as well. So that is one. Third thing, the ethos or the ethics of work need to be consistent and has to maintain that sanctity of truth. The point of truth is the data is not true. If it's not true and ethical, you will have a lot of problem in the pipeline. Because if the data is not true data, again, clean data is something which is contested in societal pressure in lots of geographies which we have come across with. So across geography, I felt data cleansing is the biggest challenge at this point, which is being helped by the AI, but it's not foolproof again. We need human interventions so that we make it societal. We can deploy it in different geographies because the different geographies have their own customs, culture. We can't deny that. We cannot disown that. So keeping that in mind, you need to make sure you have an ethical system where we have pros and cons of how AI is being used. And that is big change. That is the biggest example I can give you for the change of attitude of how we look at AI. Okay. And I've dealt it in and out. I can say across 10 domains, I face the same question. 10 domains, 10 clients, all asking the same question: when it is going to be true and ethical? I need it in Madagascar. I am in Madagascar. Do you know the rules of Madagascar? Do you know the labor laws? Do you know this and that? And all of that comes, the moment the compliance thing comes, they will come up with laws and regulations and regulatory act, GDPR, GRC, and most of it is around compliance. And human compliance, again, human is the same, but where the geography is, the laws apply to that geography. It does not apply to anyone else. As in, if you have an NIST, it works only in US, right? It will not work in India. NIST cannot work in India because India has its own regulatory act. It has its own how the consortium has been built. It is according to our constitution, whatever has been implied for the information security, we need to follow that. So I think I had a very good learning for the UK and the NIST. So EA and NIST, European nations, EU, as in EU and NIST, have a lot in common, but they are not same. They have their own litigations. They have their own legal issues where AI not used. There are blockchain not used. There are a lot of technologies which are not being used just because they want to make it more secured. Okay, but we have to contest, and we have many places where we, like Arabian country, has come up with full security, everything on DR, DR on cloud. I mean, that was the first breakthrough I had in the Arabian countries, where we had a lot of things which was put in one nutshell. And I felt that, yes, we need to have someone who will tell us, okay, this is ethical and it is foolproof in these countries. So I have 5 country examples, and I can at least show them a demo. Okay, it is working in 5 countries. Why aren't your country can work? You need to work around your compliances, and you need to make sure that you have that in mind, that AI is going to help you. It is not a villain. It is a hero.
Absolutely.
People are
Absolutely.
making AI a villain. I know for the fact there will be negativities around it. There will be people who will be use it negatively. Using it negatively is, it doesn't mean that you are making it negative. It is just that their brain is working negative, and they're abusing the AI and using it for wrongdoings, which is again needs to be stopped. That's work of the police. That's work of the policing system of this particular country. Any country. This is applicable for any country, I would say. Not only confined to India. It is across 5 countries. I've faced the same thing. I had complete body check when I used to go into Arabian countries. I can tell you that I was completely bereft of my clothes. Okay. And then they will check you, and they will check the skin, okay, the stomach skin and everything else. It was so, pestering at times. It was very uncomfortable, but I can tell you that this is what it is all about. If you're ethically strong, you will come out.
Absolutely.
There will be no gray matter
Absolutely.
for you. At least you will be clean and white. And
Right.
I've been white since ever. I've never been incarcerated in my life. I proudly say that I've had situations where the cybersecurity cell talked to me directly because I was working with the immigration services officers. I had people from the immigration and the cybersecurity cell also reaching out for patents for things which they have. They have some prototype, right?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, Mr. Chakraborty. That really brings the transformation journey to life, and I can really feel the human side of these massive projects.
Okay.
Great, great, great. All right, so let's move on to the next segment of questions. But before we do that, this particular part is called rapid fire round. So let's have some
Yep.
little fun. I'm going to throw some quick questions your way, and you just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. So are you up for it?
Yeah, absolutely. I love this part because I have seen it in Karan Johar's, Coffee with Karan.
Yes, so this is
And
Coffee with Sunny.
rapid fire makes you think the best, and you're at your best when you're thinking impromptu.
Exactly. So here I throw you the first question. What's the one thing you can't start your day without?
Okay. I start the day with reading mantra or reciting mantra, and then it is only Gayatri mantra I remember. Okay. So I recite it at least for 108 times. And that
Wow.
has been a ritual for 5 years now. Even as I was in overseas, I remember that. And then I drink 1 glass of water, lukewarm water, and then I I pause myself, as in I am not in that room. I move out, and then I look at myself in the mirror and say, "Thank God I am alive." That's what I say. Yeah, that's
That's
a kind of
wonderful. That's
stress buster. And when you're sleeping, you are half dead,
yes,
especially from 4 to 6, 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., you're absolutely dead body. That's biology again. But
actually,
biologically, if you talk about you get up from sleep, means you are getting up from a new rejuvenated yourself. As in, I want to make sure that I am the best version possible in that day.
absolutely. But that's the best way to start your day, and that's the best way to start the rapid fire round. All right. So moving on to the next questions, we will try to stick to one answers if that's possible. If you, if not in tech world, what would you be doing?
I think I would be a commentator in cricket,
Okay.
either, or I would be someone from the CISSP side who will be creating a channel only for people who wants to know about cybersecurity. So it's
Right.
like somebody there is one of my friends, Naveen Dham, Dr. Naveen Dham. He has his own company. He has invited me in one of the cybersecurity series in ZTV, Z Cinema. So I don't know whether that series you watch, it's at 12 o'clock. It happens. Navin Dham is the person who is co-hosting it. I am one of the people who write content for the cybersecurity side and give the content to them, and then I am like a ghostwriter for him. Okay. So
Great.
it's just that, whatever he speaks, I am the editor. So I feel proud. Okay, something comes up, he will reach out to me, and if I was not the technocrat, I would definitely be someone who will be serving at least 1 lakh people. 1 lakh people I would feed if I have that kind of money with me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great. All-time favorite food?
All-time favorite?
Food.
Folk?
Khana.
Acha, food. I think all-time favorite food I have since I was from born of a Bengali family. I used to have all Bengali food, okay, and a lot of sweets. So food, I would say মাছের ঝোল ভাত. That's one Bengali way. But I am staying in Hyderabad, so biryani anytime would be something I would relish. Biryani.
Okay. Who is your role model?
Role model is I would say initially when I was studying, I was following Swami Vivekananda mostly. I read his books. I've also practiced speed reading because of him. So he's a speed reading guru. So by virtue of knowing his nuances, what he has done for the country, I think I picked up speed reading because of that. And the next person, the most contemporary person, if I want to admire, is Jeff Bezos.
Great. Great. All right. So next question. What's your comfort movie or show after a long week?
I think I'll go for the movie Three Idiots most of the times because it makes me remember two of the people who were the two idiots. I am the third idiot. So I was the most idiot guy and the most what you see in Sharman Joshi. I was that one. I was also partly the character which was played by this guy, the South Indian guy. Huh?
Okay. Right. Okay. R. Madhavan.
So he was a geologist. So I had I wanted to do geology, geography, and chemistry. I got through the BHU competition. That's the only competition which I've won. In after 12th, I went to BHU Banaras and stayed there for 1 year. I stood first in chemistry. Still remember my marks were so out of the box. People were not believing how can he get 100 out of 100 in the first year. And this was geology, geography, and chemistry. I was about to be a geologist, but then my father wanted me to be an engineer. So he said, next year you're giving a competitive exam. Whatever you get, you will be into it. So I got Pune University as one of the universities where I qualified and got a ranking of less than 1,000. Again, mediocrity. So, but yes, nonetheless, I can tell you that I had this part hidden in my life. I've never disclosed this to anyone. This, yeah, I wanted to be a geologist for sure.
Wow. Great. One thing people often get completely wrong about you.
Hmm. They would think I'm very easygoing and freezy, and they would also think that I'll be very accommodative. At times, I'm not. I feel so, and I test people on the hook as we speak. I can tell you that in 30 seconds, I could know what the person is thinking about me, what exactly he is, what is the persona, and stuff like that. By being an emotional intelligence doctorate as well. So I've been studying emotional intelligence for 8 years now. And assessing people is something I've done on the hook from the grassroots level, as in the college level, and from to the mid level, and now it is the CXO level. So I'm just telling you that two books I have in my kitty right now. One book is going to be released in the next year. Its name is Go Deep, Grow Steep. It is going to be a part and parcel of CXO level people. It will be like a workbook for them. They would
Okay.
need to use a pen and not a pen, a pencil and a rubber to rewrite each time they go into different projects. Let's say they have two projects in Kitty, they will have to have two books, two workbooks, and it will definitely work for them because it's completely AI capsulated, as in everything in AI is being included end to end. So they don't have to go around searching for AI tools. They will have one book where classification of all the things will be there. And it's a blueprint, as in it will be a blueprint for any CXO level guy who wants to start. It can be a startup or it can be a vintage. It can be
Right,
as good as IBM, or anyone who is from the IBM CXO can also reach out to me to find out what they can do for the AI stuff.
right, right, right. All right. So I hope all the CXOs are listening. A little work is coming up for you.
Thank you.
So, if you could teleport anywhere right now, where would you
Yep.
go?
Teleporting, I think I should go to the future, not to the past. I don't regret my past. I had a lot of things happen in the past which was not very happy. But I want to go to the future and find out what is in store in 2050. They're saying that an artificial brain will be created. I want to see that Japanese scientists actually talking to that artificial brain, as
Wow.
in to experiment and see how far can we go that we can recreate a brain, which is a miracle. Because like just like DNA, we cannot replicate each and every brain in the world. It can be one single person, a personality. It cannot be two or three people, right? Yeah.
Beautiful.
It cannot be two or three people, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so it will be only one person. And they can, how many can they create is also the question. So I
Right.
want to teleport myself and see that. And teleporting, by the way, I'm already working on one of the projects which is called as quantum computing. The subject is very intriguing, but again, we have one quantum computing computer which is being created by L&T. And L&T, in congregation with IBM, is trying to build something which is like something which will forecast earthquakes or any natural hazards. It can classify any natural hazard and give you that timeline. At least the time frame is lesser than the others, because we will have people who will be getting a lot of disturbance and get disturbed out of the news, right? So prior to that calamity, if we can get something like, the Japanese are already working on it. Yeah. So
Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. All right. So the final question of the rapid fire round. If your life had a tagline or one line that you can name your life to, what would it be?
I I presume it would be uh, tagline would be um, tomorrow never dies, or as in, you saw the movie, right? Tomorrow never
Yes, yes,
dies.
yes.
So
Absolutely.
tomorrow never dies.
Right.
Be hopeful, be trustful, trust others more than yourself so that you can recreate someone like you. Be humble, stay safe, and always make sure that you are making an impact every time you meet someone. The person should not forget you for a lifetime. Even today's interview is that way.
Great. Great, Mr. Chakraborty. All right. That was quick. That was fun. That was certain answers were very unconventional, very, out of the box answers that we have got. And that's the fun part of this rapid fire round. All right. So let's talk about a topic that's increasingly on the radar of every industry leader today: governance, ethics, and accountability. Now, we have all seen the headlines, corporate scandals, and governance failures that have shaken entire industries. So, when you look back at some of these episodes, like the Enron scandal or even more recent ones, what stands out to you as the most important lesson for today's leaders in terms of governance?
I think what stands out is more number of resources is not our forte. Most of the leaders think that we can produce 10 different technologists in a span of 6 months, which is not possible at this point. We need to have multiple mentor-mentee sessions with congregated effort or a side-by-side effort where we have two or three technologies taken together, and the most prevalent or the most used in the market should be given prevalence. We should have the learning paths or the learning curves which we build should be niche kind. It should not be always the stereotype. It has to be niche. And if it has to be niche, it has to be found as a learning path which is non-automated. Most of most of the people have this attitude of a conventional way of learning. Okay, you go teaching the older people, older folks, they will not go and rely on only those things which are being spoken or being shown. They want to do it on their own. As in, if you want to do some, the sandboxes which we create is very useful for the people who experiment a lot on their own rather than relying on a telltale attitude. So we don't have telltale trainers. We have give trainers rather. So it's not telltale trainers, it's give trainer because you give whatever he needs, you give the environment, leave him as it is, monitor him well, so that wherever he goes falls short, we will catch him like a parachute. Okay. So ideally, that's the way any learning path should be made. I've worked on few of the examples which I can give you in my life is IBM Think 40 is one of the biggest plethora of trainings which is there in the Think 40. It has 40 hours of training, and in those 40 hours, what can you do? Whether it's behavioral training, whether it's new management training, or whether it's technocrats training or some techno-functional training, and even data scientist training, which is very much like a research work. You can even do the research work in 40 minutes. As in, that is the thought process of Think 40. And I echo with the fact because it worked in 2016, it'll work right now as well because it just started and then they gave there was a time when we had a lot of contest as to whether it has to be 40 or 60 or 90. You should increase it. It should be more than this. We cannot make a scientist in 40 hours, which is humanly not possible. Okay. So I think that is out of the way. I went for the Think 40 and Think 40 works successfully for 2 years. I've been in IBM as a quality analyst for the quality gating of those, learning paths. A similar kind of thing I replicated recently with Soshin becoming AI enabled. As you see, Soshin School is the one-stop shop for LTIMindtree. In LTIMindtree, if Soshin School is the one-stop shop for any learning, any career, as in whatever the career is, let's say if it's an P1 to P7, P8, anyone can go into the model and learn it. It is not confined to the designation. It is not confined to the hierarchy which we are working on. There are certain signature trainings we have, but more overall, if you talk about 80% of the trainings are all open to anyone, any stature. I think that's flamboyant. That's a very bold step which the company has taken because you never know a data scientist gets a better job and he will just hop off the job, right? But that after effect, we are facing it head on. And on a daily basis, I can tell you there are attritions because they've learned from us and they went somewhere else for a better. And I would say that's an achievement from my side because as an HR person being in the HR for a while now, 15 years, I have seen people hopping off jobs that I trust that these people have a better ethos of work rather than only hopping jobs. There are people like that as well. So, but both these models work well, and I was completely into it from end to end, I would say, the implementation part.
Mr. Chakraborty, that really highlights the stakes of governance, and I can feel the ripple effect of these decisions. It's fascinating how you connect ethical principles to real world leadership challenges.
Sure, sure.
All right. So you have recently joined Directors Institute, and I'm curious to hear you. What drew you to DI in the first place? And what was it that made you want to be a part of this community?
Yeah, the first part I would say I wanted to be part of the directors. As I got promoted from senior manager to associate director, the moment I had that, I saw a few of the clips from Zahir. And most of the leaders who speak in this forum has a lot to do with what I wanted to do. As in, I wanted to be a part of a consortium, a world consortium, international consortium, who works towards making this pool a very viable pool and a very viable concept. It's a concept learning. And I love the concept of making people an director, even as they come from different diverse locations, diverse academics. They would definitely have a dream of becoming a director. Okay. And there are many I've met in my life, more than 100, I would say. There are people in the senior management already spending 20 odd years not getting any promotions. And that's heartening, I would say. I think this is the major breakthrough. I wanted to make sure that people know me better in terms of academics, in terms of usability, somebody who wants to use my expertise. I want visibility, which is going to come, I know, by the help of this. This will be like taking a storm to the internet. And taking the storm with an internet, it may not go viral, but it will definitely go to the upper stakeholders or the boardroom people. And I want them to listen to this because this has come out of my experience book. And as I speak, the book is going to come. It is a big, big ask for the CXO level. I am very pretty sure that that book will actually create a lot of questions, and people will call me directly to understand why this book came out and what is the basic idea behind it and all of that. Yeah, so it'll be a progressive learning for me as well because CXOs come with a lot of learning and they have their own road of calamities, catastrophes. They have been through a lot, and then they are sitting in the hot seat, right? So I want to listen to them and be a patient listener rather than speaking.
Great. That really captures the spirit of why programs like DI are so impactful, Mr. Chakraborty. And it's fascinating to hear how peer learning and shared experiences guided your decisions. Great. So let me tell you, Mr. Chakraborty, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on today's episode. From leading cutting edge cybersecurity initiatives to shaping governance frameworks for global organizations, your expertise and leadership are truly, truly inspiring. And what stands out today is how you have shown us that behind every technological advancement, there is a human story, one that requires vision, integrity, and empathy. Your journey is a true masterclass in balancing strategy with values. So, thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us today. It's been an honor.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sunny. It was pleasure talking to you, and I aspire to be part and parcel. Whatever contributions I can make, I am open to it. And I've been speaking to Ghanshyam as well about how things have panned out. I'm studying. I'm still a learner, and the books which have come in, I've picked them up. I've read them on the hook. Whenever I get time, I start reading the books. What has come newly. And I inspire to say that yes, I will be part of the content management if any expertise of AI or any or otherwise. I have 64 technologies in my book. So you can rely on me as someone who is a technocrat, can create modules and can also give something which is special for certain domain-based learnings, okay, for Directors Institute. Proud to be part of this institution a world-class institution in one word. Every minute counted for me. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Mr. Chakraborty, and we wish you luck for all your future endeavors. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning into FaceTime with Leaders, powered by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. I'm your host, Sunny Pancholi, signing off for now. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and as I always say, lead with integrity. Thank you so much. Have a blessed time.
Thanks, everyone.